Ex-wife and I divorced 7 years ago. We have a teenage daughter together. Ex and I are not on the best of terms. When she started dating her husband, Jeff, the two of them attempted to get me to step back or step out of my daughter's life so he could be her new father. On top of that, since Jeff had 3 kids instead of 1, he liked to believe he knew better than me and was always trying to give me unsolicited advice, always acting superior. One time, he said to my daughter in front of me that I wanted her to call him Dad too, since he was such an amazing parent and one I could aspire to be like. I did have to deny saying that without trying to say I didn't want my daughter to call him Dad. I wanted to leave it to her. She never did call him Dad, and she thinks he's arrogant as duck too. Jeff's kids are teens now too, and they are aware my daughter has a summer and sometimes weekend job at the business I own. Ex and Jeff want his kids to work there too. They say it would be great for them all to be part of the family business and work together and build sibling bonds. I don't want Jeff's kids anywhere near my business. I do not want to be more involved in my ex's new life more than I already am because of our daughter. Jeff's kids are not part of my family, so them being part of the family business makes no sense. Plus, from what my daughter has said and from what Ex and Jeff have said, they're not very close and don't consider each other siblings. My saying no has been controversial, and I hear from Jeff and my ex all the time how I'm an a-hole and should be willing to give them a shot, pointing out that they are my daughter's family whether I like it or not, and she should be able to include them in a business she will one day inherit. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You can already foretell that your ex, her husband, stepfather, and the stepfather's kids will be trying to claim a partial ownership share when the daughter inherits. Assuming that happens, as who knows what happens between now and that distant future event, or sticking out their hand for a share in whatever she inherits from the OP. Not the a-hole. What the duck? There is no family business for them to be a part of. Just because your daughter has a relationship with them doesn't mean you do. They aren't entitled to work there. Keep putting your foot down about that. Not the a-hole. Sounds like they've already made plans for his kids to also be inheriting your family's business. Don't allow them. Don't employ them. And make sure your daughter knows that it's your family business, not a family business that covers both sides. My brother-in-law, L, had a longtime girlfriend, J, who he has a kid with. I've been with my husband since we were teenagers, way before Jay and my brother-in-law met, and eventually Jay and I became really good friends, almost sisters. Stuff hit the fan around 4 months ago, when Jay found out L was cheating with a coworker. Jay and him separated. Jay was devastated, and I grew a great distaste for L, especially after he had started dating this coworker. This was just the cherry on top, as he started being an a-hole to Jay around 9 months ago. We had a Mother's Day celebration yesterday because we all had scheduled conflicts last week, and I, of course, invited Jay. I kind of forgot that L was in the family group chat because he doesn't really talk, but to my surprise, this mother licker shows up with this coworker. They came in through the back door. I was in my patio with Jay as my niece wanted to play with the dog. Jay went inside for a couple seconds and quickly came outside, visibly upset and crying. Now, in my defense, I was 3 shots of tequila in, and I was already irritated because it was super hot outside. But as soon as I came inside and saw them in my kitchen, eating my crackers, I immediately yelled, "Who let that hoe into my house?" and went into a tirade where I colorfully described their audacity and told them both to get out of my house, and told my brother-in-law he is never to set a foot inside my house because he's unfaithful trash. His little girlfriend started to argue back, but was ushered outside by my brother-in-law before I could decorate her head with nachos. Brother-in-law came in and started arguing with my husband, but my husband stood his ground and told him that he made his bed and he could lay in it. The rest of the family was dead silent, but within 20 minutes, tensions had relaxed, except for the great-grandma. She was extremely angry and demanded to speak with me, and when she did, she said she understood why I said and did what I did, but she was so upset that I had kicked him out, and that I had cussed him out in front of the family, and honestly, that old lady's disapproving look kinda stung. He also messaged me this long paragraph about how he's upset, and that I'm a sister to him, and he couldn't believe the way I was treating him. However, the rest of his family, including my husband's parents, says that he needs to learn the hard way, and I was just the one to dish it to him. Update. I messaged brother-in-law back and I asked him what he expected out of yesterday, and he said he wasn't thinking, nor was he planning to go, but he mentioned it to his girlfriend, and she started to tell him that he had a right to attend family gatherings because he was still my mother-in-law's son. I said, okay, I can see why that's fair. So why bring her royal highness? And he said he doesn't know. Now, I'm not stupid, and I've known this man since he was 15. So I straight up asked him, were you trying to make Jay jealous or hurt her feelings? And he told me that essentially yes, because she has been ignoring about things not concerning their daughter, and that's why he brought her to my house, as a way to say, duck you to Jay. I told him that he ducked himself into a position where everyone in his family is either angry, disgusted, or disappointed in him, and that he had no right to bring roaches to my house. He messaged me back a half apology, and how he's been having a hard time, but honestly, I was so tired of him by that point. So I messaged him back with a, "You're a dumb hoe who ruined your family because of your impulsiveness. Wallow in your misery in silence." Then I blocked him. He called my husband around 10 minutes after, but all my husband had to say to him was to grow up, boo-hoo. Not the a-hole. People who can't keep their pants on are disgusting. If grandma wants to hang out, it's on her. The guy treated horribly his partner and his child, and now is playing the family card? Well, nope. Not the a-hole. Here's the thing. Old school ladies like this great grandma tend to let cheaters and cheating slide. They're from that generation where it was expected of men, where as long as he stayed with his wife and took care of his responsibilities, most would just let it go. But that's not how things are anymore. The fact that he brought her to a Mother's Day celebration when he knew his ex would be there speaks of his cruelty. Not the a-hole. You go, girl. He made his bed and now got to lay in it. He got what he deserved. Just block him. Tell grandma that your house, your rules, and take to heart that everyone else was on your side. I have 4 children, 3 boys, 9, 7, 4, with my husband and a daughter, 15, with my ex-husband. I will not lie. My ex and I broke up because of my infidelity 10 years ago. I was only granted Saturdays every other week for custody. I married my husband soon after. I do believe that my ex has been more than fair to me over the years, and he is one to avoid conflict, which is nice. However, my ex makes 7 figures each year, and I and my husband barely make it month to month. And I am still obligated to pay $150 a month in child support, which is a significant amount to us right now. My ex knew about this, and we worked out a system that he would cover our daughter financially still when she came to spend Saturdays with us. He would send her with money so she could cover her own way. She would bring her own snacks and drinks, so we did not have to feed her along with 3 growing boys, and he would get her breakfast before he dropped her off and dinner after he picked her up. This worked for a while, but now my boys have grown to resent her. She refuses to share her name brand snacks with my boys, and they have noticed that she does not eat with us. Bringing McDonald's with herself for breakfast, and many days orders Uber Eats for herself for lunch while they eat PB&J sandwiches. She will also call her dad before she leaves, often asking to go to a steakhouse for dinner. My oldest boy lashed out at me 2 weeks ago, asking why his sister gets better food than him. The others have also noticed and have begun to demand that we get them fast food and better snacks that we cannot afford. I decided to send my ex a text, telling him about the situation, and asking if maybe it would be possible for him to start sending enough snacks for the boys as well, along with maybe having our daughter order them food as well for breakfast and lunch. His response was rudely out of character, as he told me that I asked for this arrangement, and that under no circumstances was he going to feed my brats. I was a bit floored, but dropped it. Well, this Saturday was my day with our daughter. When she arrived, I decided to tell her that she can't bring her breakfast inside with her anymore, and that I want her to start sharing her snacks and ordering food for her brothers as well. Out of nowhere, she lost it, told me that it's not her fault I cheated on her dad, that I already don't provide anything outside of court-appointed parenting, and now I expect her to ruin the only thing that makes coming to my house bearable? She did this very publicly in front of my husband and the boys as well, so I called my ex then and there and demanded he come back and pick her up. My husband is livid at me for even asking my ex this question, and says I'm doing this to get attention and throw my daughter under the bus. Yes, the a-hole. You are being accommodated in every conceivable way by someone you screwed over, and you're asking for even more. If you can't get your spawn under control, then don't make it anyone else's problem. Yes, the a-hole. That was an outrageous request. You've had more children than you can actually take care of. Your ex goes above and beyond because you can't afford to feed your daughter, even when it's your turn to care for her. And instead of being thankful, you resent your ex and lashed out at her. That's just nasty. Yes, the a-hole. You cheated on this man, and now you expect him to feed your other children? That, speculating from the fact you married soon after divorce, you probably had with your affair. You should be lucky you're only paying $150 for child support. If that's more than you can afford, maybe you shouldn't have gotten 3 additional children before making sure you're able to afford the one you're already having. Your ex is already generous enough to not cause a scene for the sake of your daughter. It's not your daughter's fault either. She's used to a higher living standard. Asking her to leave her snacks outside because your kids are jealous isn't the right approach. Feeling entitled to your ex-husband's money certainly isn't either. You shouldn't be surprised if your daughter will not want to visit at all anymore if you treat her like this. I, 25 female, turned 25 on the 10th. I have a twin sister, Paula, and this is relevant to the story. We weren't as close as I'd like, mainly because she always felt that she had to be better than me. I'm not a social person. I have social anxiety and don't like big flashy events. I've pretty much only had one friend, whom I'm very close with. When it was my birthday, me and her decided to have a small celebration with a cake. Paula had a big party. Roughly 50 people in some celebration hall. I thought it was a little over the top, but didn't say anything because it was what she wanted. On the 12th, I decided to have a dinner with my family in a restaurant for my birthday. It was mainly to catch up with my family as we live in different cities and only see each other once or twice a year, and because my father asked me if I wanted to, and I agreed. We were all having fun, talking, eating. Overall, it made me very happy, as I often don't get the chance to do this. Now, this is where I may be the a-hole. As we were just talking, my sister and her husband stood up to say something. I thought she was going to make one of the corny speeches she likes to at events like this, but no, they announced she was pregnant. Everyone was cooing over her, completely disregarding me. This was the one thing I had that was about me, and she made it about herself. I was more upset about the fact that she decided to do it on my birthday dinner and not the party she had. I didn't say anything because I don't want to make a scene in the restaurant. I just sat there, waiting for them all to stop obsessing about her. My mother and sister noticed how quiet I was and asked me what the matter was. I just left. It was either that or lose my dignity by screaming at her. I was bombarded with texts and phone calls from my sister, asking me what was wrong, and when she saw I was ignoring her, she started to get mad, saying I'm just jealous because I can't have children and I'm being bitter. My mother came to my flat, disappointed that I ruined the news about my sister being pregnant. She demanded that I apologize. I finally lost it and told her that the one thing I had wanted to do for my birthday was ruined by Paula taking all the attention, once again. My mother said I'm spoiled because we're twins and we share birthdays. When I mentioned that she already had her party, she told me that if I wanted one like hers, I would have got it. I was going to start crying if I said anything else, so I just left. My mother is saying if I don't fix things and be the bigger person, she'll have no choice but to take sides with my sister. I feel like I should have just sucked it up and be happy for my sister, or just apologize. My father is on my side, as is my friend, but I'm conflicted. Am I the a-hole? You are not the a-hole at all, and your sister owes you a big apology. It's interesting that she had a huge party for her birthday, but didn't announce her pregnancy there. She waits until your party to make the announcement, so then your party becomes all about her. People like this always have to be the center of attention, no matter what, and it's sad that your mom is taking her side. My advice, if you have another birthday party, don't invite your sister. She will always find a way to make every occasion all about her. Not the a-hole. You both are twins, but you are both different people, and each of you deserved your own celebration. A birthday is a celebration for having that person in your life. You are celebrating them, all the wonderful memories that they made for that year with you. That's not supposed to be a birth announcement at a birthday, unless it's your own. She could have gotten the family together any other time, and it would have been much more memorable too, instead of having to sideline with you, or rather overtake you. I'm sorry your mom is not supportive, but she's already picked her side, and that's what I would tell her. Definitely not the a-hole. Your sister was extremely selfish and her behavior was inappropriate. You handled it well. You didn't yell at her or throw a tantrum. You just calmly removed yourself from the situation. Your mother is being obtuse. You should inform your mother and sister that they both owe you apologies. If they refuse, well, you will have some decisions to make about your relationship with them. I'm glad your dad is on your side at least. I, 28 female, have a younger sister, Ella, 21 female. She got married to Sam, 21 male, last year in a small socially distanced wedding. We knew they'd want kids right away, and last Sunday was the baby shower. I knew she'd announced the gender and name at it, but Sam's mother arranged it so it was a surprise. Now, we had a board of names up for us to pick out what we thought the name was. Pink comes out, and we all cheer. Ella goes, "Okay, name reveal." That's when she pulls out a baby onesie with Samnella on it. There was a few woo, but dead silence, and I laughed, thinking it wasn't real, then said, Salmonella, like food poisoning? Sam's mother freaks out about how it's a beautiful name. Ella is screaming I've ruined everything, and the name was meant to signify the coming together of them. My own mother hissing that I should have kept my mouth shut, how the kid would probably go by Sammy. Not going to lie, I left after that. I'm told the party went on, but the mood was different. Family seems mixed on it, with a fair few agreeing Samnella does sound like salmonella. And caught off guard, they'd have giggled too. But also a lot of, well, it's her baby if she likes the name. I do think I shouldn't have laughed. But also, how have multiple people heard Samnella and just thought, yeah, sounds cute? My sister says everyone else loves and compliments the name. I think they're just being nice. Not the a-hole. Your sister and her husband are idiots. Not the a-hole. When I was born, my biological mother wanted to name me and my sister Snow White and Rose Red. My mother's nurse ripped up the papers and told her she couldn't name us that. Technically, the nurse didn't have that authority, but I owe that nurse a great debt, for my life was hard enough with a mentally disabled and unstable biological mother. Like, it's cruel not to say something, and your response was a natural reaction. Not the a-hole. Every maternity ward has the book, where they keep a log of all the stupid, ridiculous things people have tried to call their children. Samnella would go in the book.